So what happens, you can see in your mind's eye that Jesus picks up Jairus and tells him your faith has made it to me. Your faith, your great faith, basically has allowed me now to follow you, and wherever Jairus, wherever your house is at, I will go. And Jesus then follows him. And at this point in time, we have the encounter with the woman with the flow of the blood. Now, I won't go into all the details with the woman and the flow of the blood because this is a well-known story, and there's literally books that have been written about this and chapters inside of books. But there are a couple of important factors to note. One of the first is that the irony of this, the story inside the story, is we have the ruler of the synagogue who sought out Jesus for help. And now we have the lady with the flow of the blood. She is actually stopping Jesus in her tracks. And she is the person that couldn't even enter that synagogue of Jairus. She is deemed unclean by Levitical law because of the flow of blood. So she could not enter the synagogue. She shouldn't have been in the crowd by Levitical law. She certainly can't touch Jesus by Levitical law, and no one can touch her. That's how severe the law was, and that's how big of the risk was that the woman with the flow of the blood was actually taking just to even be in that crowd. Well, Jesus, as you know the story, she touches the hem of his garment, the tassel on the prayer shawl, which has the 4 strings, the 3 white and the 1 blue, which are knotted. She touches the hem of the garment, and she is immediately physically healed. Jesus feels the flow of the power go out from him, and he says, "Who touched my clothes?" Now again, you can imagine what's going on in Peter's mind, because Mark doesn't tell us, but the person where it says disciples in this passage, that's actually Peter who rebukes Jesus. Because Peter is thinking, we are on a mission. We are time sensitive. We only have so much time to get to heal this person. He probably knows Jairus' daughter. He knows Jairus is the ruler of the synagogue. And he knows that Jesus can heal her, but she is near death. So he's got to get there now. Why is he stopping and asking, "Who touched me?" The crowds are all around. They're pressing in. Everybody's trying to touch you. And in Peter's mind, he's thinking, "Why are you asking who touched me?" Well, Peter didn't understand God's time. He didn't yet understand that everything had a purpose, and especially if the words are spoken by Jesus. So as the story continues with the lady with the flow of blood, Jesus looked, and in the Greek that means he kept looking, he kept searching for her. Since he kept searching, she came forward, and she gave the whole story. And Jesus said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace and be healed of your affliction." Now, why would Jesus say go in peace and be healed when she was already physically healed? Well, Jesus was drawing her out of the crowd. Jesus didn't want just a healing to take place. He wanted a personal relationship with her. He wanted her to be drawn out of the crowd. And why? Well, in the Greek, the same word for healing also means saved or salvation. So with that Greek word, not only has he healed her physically, but now he is saving her. He is assuring her salvation. He's drawing her out of the crowd. She still maintains this great faith, and he gives her the benediction to go in peace, which means, in essence, you are clean. She is now clean because she's touched the Master. So now the story picks back up with Jairus. And while all this was going on, while he was still speaking, being Jesus, some people came from the synagogue ruler's home, his household, and they said, "Your daughter is dead. Why trouble the teacher any further?" What a curt, heartless thing to say to a parent. Your daughter's dead. Don't trouble the man anymore. What must Jairus have been thinking? What was going through his head? He had He had all the hope. He knew right in front of him was a person who could save his daughter. Everything was going his way now. He knew that his daughter's life was assured. And now, because of this delay, with Jesus' purposeful delay, his daughters died. His world, it all came crashing down upon him. But Jesus he heard the word that was spoken, and he said to Jairus, "Do not be afraid, only believe." What Jesus is asking for is a greater leap of faith. Jairus had the faith to seek him out and to risk all, which was faith. But he's asking Jairus to believe in the impossible, that his daughter could be raised from the dead. Something that hadn't happened before. So that is the great faith that Jesus is now asking. Jairus saw the faith of the woman with the flow of blood, and now Jesus is asking him, Jairus, to even have a greater faith that the daughter can be saved, that the daughter can be, in essence, can live. Now he takes Peter, James, and John with him. This is the first time of 3 times in Mark that he takes Peter, James, and John. He wants his prayer warriors with him. He wants the people who are closest with him to be there. He doesn't want any doubt. The second time is the Transfiguration. The third time would be at the Garden of Gethsemane when he singles those 3 men out. They went to the house, and there was a tumult where people were weeping and they were wailing loudly. Well, these were the professional mourners. And it's important to note that these professional mourners, that in the Talmud, the Jewish law actually required even a poor person to have 2 flute players and 1, as they put it, wailing woman. So they required professional mourners to be there. I've also learned recently that historians have found that the mourners actually had a guild, just like an actors guild or a writers guild. Well, the mourners during that point in time actually had a guild where you had to hire them when there was a death in the family. This is the significant point because some scholars and would-be scholars have gotten tripped up on the language of Jesus when he says that the child is not dead but sleeping.